You can use any email address you want to for Shelby, but what you want to use is one that you will check. Okay? Let me minimize that. That was in preparation for something else. So here we are. You go to Shelby.com and you want to click on the sign up for free button if you don't already have Shelby. Some of you probably already have Shelby from other classes. If you already have it, then go ahead and log into your Shelby account. Just use the username and password that you logged in with the first time. And you can just enroll in another class. But for the folks that need to sign up, you go to Shelby.com, click the sign up for free button, and then on the next page, you're going to click student and create an account using whatever email that you'll check regularly. You can use your GTest email from here at Northeast State. You can use your regular Gmail account. You can use your Hotmail account, your Yahoo account, Comcast, Charter, whatever email you check regularly. It has to be one that you'll check because you remember the password to it. And I would prefer it if you will use the same email when we sign up for the Pearson website. Use the same email for both accounts. That'll simplify things for me too if I ever have to help you out, because sometimes issues come up where students' work doesn't get loaded up or something in Pearson, and I'll have to get on the phone and kind of move them along because you get frustrated with them, and I understand because, you know, sometimes they don't always explain things the best. And please use your real name as it appears on the class roll to sign up for Shelby. Okay?
What if you already did it? Didn't?
Is it a name I'm going to recognize as being you? Okay, I mean, if you're just using like if your name is Mary Susan and you put in Susan,
That's my name's Melissa, and I go by Melissa.
Oh, well, I'll recognize you. It's just I had one guy. I didn't do that, and that's why I'm starting to say, you know, put your real name in there, because this guy popped up in my class, and his name was Death Hawk or something like that. And I'm like, who's that?
That's his gamer name.
And I actually had to go down my class roll and check everybody else off to figure out who he was and say, please go change your name. I need to know it's you. So then you click join a class and enter the code for the class, which is WJ4BQ. WJ4BQ. You don't have to do the all caps, it'll capitalize for you. But you might want to write that down, because that's the only thing you're going to need. The rest of it's all going to be in Shelby once you get in. But our class code is WJ4BQ, and that's for tonight's class. So those of you that are reading, not this one, that's for my tomorrow morning's class. Y'all are separate. So you want the WJ4BQ. Now once you've done that, you should be, now I'm going to move out of this for a minute. Once you've done that, you should be signed up for this class. And when you click on that class, this is what you should see. Now, I'm going to warn you, there's a lot of things here that are still locked as you go down through here, and that's because I'm going through and adding to and revising some things. But I've unlocked everything for Chapter 1, because that's going to cover our first test. What we're going to do tonight is we will review for Chapter 1, and then I'm going to post a quiz after we've done the review. I'll probably post it tomorrow, and you'll have until Friday to get that quiz done. I'll tell you what the quiz questions are, so if you want to go ahead and start working on them, you can do that. Because the quiz questions are going to come out of a review chapter that's actually in your textbook in Pearson. But I'm going to pull them off and put them on a document in there so that you can actually submit it through Shelby if you want to. So that we're going to come back to that. You should see your class, your section 1.1 class notes and homework. That'll be right here. Right now, the only thing that's in that folder is your notes, and your show me homework is down here. This is actually, I think, the PowerPoint for that section. Let me make sure that's what it is. And I would not recommend printing this off. That's not a good idea. It's 58 pages. So this is just the PowerPoint presented one page at a time. So what you probably want to do is, instead of trying to go ahead and do chapter 1 right away, if you will notice here, it says a video will be posted for this soon. I'm going to do the video for it over the next, probably tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, because I had a long day today and I didn't get it done. But I'm going to post a video over section 1.1. It'll be a YouTube video. And you'll be able to go and play that video and pause it while you catch up on your notes if you need to, or back up and hear it again if you need to. And I'll actually be explaining things that are on the PowerPoint. So you won't need the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint will be in the video. And that's the way that I do most of my lectures, is I'll record the lecture with the PowerPoint, and then that way you'll have it to go back to, so you can spend time listening in class and paying attention in class. And if you don't get all your notes, you can always take them later.
Do you have multiple attempts to do the quizzes, or do you only have one time?
On this particular one, you're going to have one attempt with the opportunity to redo it if you need to. Okay? In my math lab, you will have multiple attempts on your quizzes. In fact, you have unlimited attempts. I don't see any reason to penalize somebody that wants to do a quiz 7 times so they learn the material. So, and I don't penalize you for it. The only thing I will do in order to keep you on track is I do have due dates set up for them, and it's always midnight before the first test, before that test. So, you know, you do it the night before, and if you can still do it after that, but then you'll lose 10 points for doing it after that. Now, at the end of the term, I'll take that 10-point penalty off to encourage you to go back and practice those quizzes. One thing you probably want to try to do tonight is in the student information form. It says, please open and complete the document. Well, it's not below, it's actually above. But complete the document. It's a graded assignment. You get 100% for completing it and 0 if you don't. So be sure and do that. That's 300. And the document looks like this. Now, this is a PDF document. If anybody that's using a computer to do some of this stuff with Shobi, if you want to use Word rather than writing on a PDF document with either a PDF app that lets you actually with a touchscreen write on it, but if you'd like to type in this form, if you'll let me know, I will put in your folder a copy of the form in Word, and you can download it, type in your information, because this is actually originally a Word document. I'll let you type it, and then all you have to do is save it as a PDF and upload it back into Shobi. And the information here, don't worry about it saying the wrong section number, because I don't think I changed any of these. It's not spring, I know it's fall, but I just didn't get that edited out. Put your first and last name, the name you want me to call you in class. Your D2L username, so that I can make sure that they match up. Although we really won't use D2L very much this semester at all. And then a mailing address, and the only reason I asked for that is because I checked that against what they have on the system in Banner. And if what you tell me your mailing address is not what they have it is, I'll let you know so that you can get that updated, because you don't want your school stuff going to the wrong mailing address. And then whether or not you live at that address, at least for this semester, because a lot of people come over here and take classes from ETSU, and they have a home address that's in Michigan or somewhere, but they come over here and take this class, and they're living on campus at ETSU, or they have an apartment. So that's why I asked that question. I need a telephone number, and whether it's a cell or a landline, it does not have to be your phone number, but it needs to be one that I can contact you at. Okay? You don't have to fill that out because we're also going to use something called Remind, and it's going to send you a text to your phone. So most of the messages you'll get from me will be through Remind. I'll only use that one in an emergency. And if there's times you would prefer that I not call, if you give me that number, please tell me when you don't want me to call. Because I'll tell you up front, you need to call me after 10 in the morning or before 10 at night. Because after that, cell phone's off. Outside email address, that's hopefully the same email that you use to sign up for Shobi and the same email you use to sign up for Pearson. I just try to have it in multiple places. And no, you do not have to check your D2L email address every day because I'm not going to send you any messages in D2L. I'm doing everything through Shobi. There's too many websites for these courses out here anymore, and Shobi and Remind for communication and Pearson is all we're going to use. Students have complained for years, I can't remember which one of these stupid websites I'm supposed to go to. Well, let's narrow it down to at least 3, okay, instead of 5 or 6. You don't have to necessarily tell me this, but if you've got problems as far as having internet access and access to a computer away from school or some kind of electronic access, you want to tell me about that down there. Do you have access to those things? For those of you that don't know it, you can get Microsoft Outlook 365 for free because you're a student. Take advantage of that. That's a useful thing to have. You can download it on your tablet. You can also download it on your PC. You can put it on 5 different machines. So take advantage of the fact. And if it asks you to pay, you didn't sign up right. Later on, if you need a video of how you sign up for Microsoft 365, I'll walk you through it. I'll do that tonight before we leave. I'll show you where you go to find the link. And if you're working, and I'm assuming probably most of you, since you're coming to a night class, are working, tell me how many hours a week you work. If there's anything else you want to share about how many hours a week you work, you can. You can tell me I work second shift and I work this many weeks, this many hours, or I work full time and I work third shift, or whatever. Third shift probably doesn't work too well for this class, though. Well, it might.
Second shift won't work.
Second shift won't work. And then, do you have this is the short version. Do you have any concerns that you face that may impact your ability to do well in this class? Now, if you need more space, because some people have a lot to say about how bad they hate math classes, and that's okay. If that space is not enough, then there is actually a blank second page, and on that second page, I want you to tell me anything you would like for me to know as your teacher. Anything. And, it's okay if you rant and rave about how bad you hate math. I understand. I'm not real crazy about history. So, it's all right.
You're saying use Remind? I don't know what that is.
We're going to go through that too.
Okay, good.
It's a text messaging system.
Oh, okay.
And it's really convenient for you and for me. Okay, and then most of the rest of this is just I'm trying to get to know you. What's your academic major or your career goal? Where do you want to go? Why are you here? Why are you here in this class necessarily? Why are you at Northeast State? Why are you at college? What do you hope to get out of this? And I really do want to know that. And then, again, there's probably not enough room here. If you are served by the Office for CSD, Center for Students with Disability, you need to let me know that tonight, but we need to do that in private. I will not disrespect your privacy. You can actually post your CSD letter to me in Shobi right here where that student information form is. I've had several people that have done that. They take a picture of it, post it there, or they've gotten a PDF file of it and they just upload the PDF, and that's fine. But for those people that send it to me, I'd like to at least have a phone conversation with you if you can't hang out face to face, to talk about, how can I best help you? Because I want you to succeed in this class. My goal is that everybody in here do what my Math 1010 class did this summer, and that is that every single one of them passed, except one. And that was the one that didn't show up after the first day. All the rest of them passed, and passed with good grades. Okay? So that's my goal. I want you all to pass. I want you to succeed in this class. And I'll do everything I can to help you succeed. And then, like I said, I want you to tell me anything else about you that you would like for me to know. And I've heard all kinds of things from people, so don't be bashful about it. This is between me and you. So if there's anything you need me to know, let me know. Now, while I've got this up, let me show you some things that you have available to you even if you don't have a tablet. And I have this available to me if I grade it on the tablet or on a PC. If I'm grading and I want to explain something to you, I can put it in writing. I can add a comment. So if you see any little round circles, that's me. I can also attach a video. Somehow this has been acting funky tonight, so I don't know exactly what its problem is. It may not be set up on this computer, but I can actually record a voiceover video for you and actually post it here. And I usually don't use this. What I usually use is a separate program, and then I'll just put a link to it in the boxes of the assignment. This, I can add a text box, and this can be any of the different kinds of colors of type that I want it to be, but I may want to add a text box. And then I can type in it. A comment box usually is the same as a text box, except if it's a comment box, I'm either answering your question in just a few words. If it's going to take more than just a few words, then I open up a text box, especially if I'm trying to do an example. I open up a text box because the little tiny comment boxes, they'll both close down. But the text box is easier to read if it's a long explanation. I have more control over that. Now I got to figure out how to get rid of that. Escape, okay. Because I don't want it. No. How about delete? There we go. If it's not escape, it's delete. And I can grade it from here. This will tell me how I can grade. And I can give you a gold star from there if you did a really good job. I already have that, thank you. So complete the student information form for me as soon as you get a chance. I'm going to give you a scavenger hunt kind of thing. I have to modify it a little bit because you all are an evening class and I don't expect you to go find the testing center and all the other places I send my daytime students. I know y'all have limited time, so I've got to edit out some things and put some other things in for you, but I'm going to put a little scavenger hunt type thing in there for you where if you've done it, you get to check it off, and that's going to be a quiz grade. And then here's where we have the syllabus, the class policies, and that's where I had the instructions for how do you sign up for Shelby. So I'm going to open those back up in a minute. But before I do that, because we're going to have to go to another website to finish that up, this is the course syllabus. Same syllabus that my class tomorrow morning is going to see. It's a departmental syllabus. I will not read it to you. If you have questions about it, you need to ask me. And I will tell you whatever you need to know about it. When I give you the scavenger hunt quiz, there will be direct things that come from the syllabus, and I'll ask you questions about the syllabus on that scavenger hunt. And you'll have to go hunt up the syllabus and go answer that question. There's 5 pages of it, you just page right through it. And then there is the instructor policy sheet. And I wanted to bring this up while everybody's here because There is a minor adjustment that I hope will still work for everybody as far as exams. When they put in the exam dates, they only put in 4. We don't have 4 exams, we have 5. Okay, we have an exam, I like to give an exam over chapter 1 rather than combine chapter 1 and 2. Because chapter 1 is usually a little easier than chapter 2 for most people. A lot of it's review, you make better grades on. So I want to start you off with a good grade. Chapter 2 is a little bit tougher, but if you do well in chapter 1, you'll be fine. And that way we have it separated out so that you learn what you needed to learn to be able to do chapter 2. So I need to change the exam dates for the first 2 exams. The first exam will be on September 18th. And it'll be over only chapter 1, which is only 3 sections. Okay? That's 3 weeks from now. And then in order to give us time to get through chapter 2 and test on chapter 2, chapter 2's test will be October the 9th. So you will have 2 meeting dates in October. October the 9th for exam on chapter 2, and October the 30th for an exam on chapter 3. And in between those 2 we have fall break. And then chapter 4, the exam will be November 29th. Or not chapter 4, chapter 5. And I don't give a separate test over chapter 10. I just put chapter 10 test on the final. And I give you a really good study guide for the final. I'll give you quizzes over chapter 10, but I don't give you a separate exam over chapter 10.
So, did you say you go 1, 2, 3,
The
5,
order,
10?
yes. The order of the chapters is 1, 2, 3, skip 4, we don't do 4, 5, and then we skip 6, 7, 8, and 9 are about probability and statistics and some other stuff that if you're in this class, it's because you're a business major and you have to take prob and stats anyway, so we don't cover it in here. We'll stick straight to the things that we need to do for this class. And chapter 10 is, it kind of goes back to chapter 1. Chapter 1 we talk about linear functions, and then when we get to chapter 10 we talk about exponential and logarithmic functions and other kinds of functions, things that aren't straight lines, things that are curves. So we'll wind up on that, and then that'll be on your final exam. We will focus mostly about chapter 10, we'll focus on graphing. That's most of what we'll do in chapter 10, and I don't mean graphing by hand, I mean graphing on your calculator. Okay? So if you will, make a note of those changed exam dates, because that's not what they published. And if you have a problem with those, because you've already asked off for the ones they published, just let me know and I'll see if I can't work around it for you. Now, I have office hours. The ones you're going to be interested in are those right there. I'm in from 3:30 until 5 o'clock. Just because it's from 3:30 to 5 does not mean I disappear at 5 o'clock. I'm probably still hanging out in my office. But in case I need to leave and go get something to eat and come back, I may not be there from 5 to 6 the whole entire time. So if you get here about 15 minutes early and you need to talk to me, go ahead and let me know that you're going to come by my office at 5:45 and I'll be there for you. I can be flexible. The rest of my office hours are pretty much the same, Tuesday and Thursday, 9:30 to 10:30 and 3 to 3:30 with these 2 are like half an hour between classes. That's all I've got. Most of my office hours are 9:30 to 10:30 in the morning. If those don't work for you, if you need to see me at another time, if you have a specific time on Friday especially, talk to me. Send me a message. Ask me, what time can I come in on Friday? I could be there between these hours. And if it's like after 5, that's okay. All I got at home is me and the dogs. So, I can just arrange my office hours and come in later and stay later. So if that's what you need to do, let me know. Fridays, I'm very flexible. This is my Northeast State email, but we will use Remind, and I'm going to go to that next. And without going through all of this, I would encourage you to please read through all of this because this is all relevant to the course. And again, I'm going to have you answer some quiz questions about this, so you're going to have to read through it and find the answers. But I know most everybody's interested in how are you going to determine my grade, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Your unit tests count 40%. You basically have 4 tests plus a final. Even though we cover 5 different chapters, we have 4 tests plus a final. So each of those unit tests, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 5, those count basically 10% each for your final grade. Your My Math Lab homework counts 15%. Your My Math Lab quizzes count 10%. Both of them you have unlimited tries. You can do it over and over and over again until you get it a perfect score. So you should all have good grades for that. In-class quizzes and homework will count 10%. And even if you're in the internet class, that's the stuff that I put in Shobi. One of the things that counts as your in-class grade is that you fill out your notes and put them on Shobi. Because your note page is there, all you have to do is take your notes and then take pictures and load them up. That's fine. But there will be some other things for you to do too. There will be some quizzes, there's going to be some Shobi homework. And I don't necessarily grade class notes because you loaded them up. I look and see if you downloaded them. I don't really look to see if you put the published notes back up. I look to see if you actually downloaded them. Because I figure if you downloaded them, you must have written on them, and I don't need to see your notes. I just need to make sure you downloaded them. So every time you do that, that's a couple of free points for just downloading your notes. And download means basically that you clicked on them and opened them up. That's all you really have to do. We are going to have a project this semester. I'll talk to you about it later. It's going to come around about chapter 5, and it's going to be one of those nice real-life projects because the answer to the question, when am I ever going to use this? Well, you're going to get a lot of answers about when you're going to use this in this class because this is an applications class. I don't care if you can solve 57 algebra equations. No boss is ever going to ask you to do that. But when you buy a house, I want you to be able to figure out what your mortgage payment's going to be. When you're trying to save for retirement, I want you to know how much money you need to put in that account. When you're working in a business and you're trying to figure out whether or not you're going to make a profit, I want you to be able to figure out how you know if you made a profit or not, or where you're going to make the most profit. So those are the things we're going to focus on. We're not really in here to learn algebra. We have to do a little algebra along the way, but we're about problem solving. And your final exam is comprehensive, which means that it will cover all 5 chapters equally, which means the 10th chapter will cover about 20% of the questions on the final exam. I try to be even with that, I try to be fair with it. And I'll give you really good study guides for all your tests, promise. If you don't know where the Learning Center is, I would encourage you to be familiar with it. They don't have evening hours as late as they used to, but they do still have some evening hours. I gave you their phone number there. If you qualify for a trio tutor, you can probably get a trio tutor that works around your schedule. If you think you're going to need a tutor, don't wait, because money is in short supply around here this year, and they don't have a lot of money to hire extra tutors. So the tutors are going to go fast, and the tutors for this class always go fast anyway, because they usually have a hard time finding tutors for this class in calculus. But they've got a couple of really good tutors in the Learning Center this time for this class and calculus. So, talk to Miss Perry about that. That's free. Trio services you have to qualify for, but the Learning Center's drop-in and free. I'm your course facilitator. You have to do the work, because you're going to do the learning. I'm here to help you use the materials that we've got to learn. The one thing I'm going to ask you not to say in this class, please don't ever tell me, I just can't do this. Yes, you can. You can't do it yet, but when we work together, and if you believe you can do this, you have to believe in yourself. I've got one student that I have worked with that from the summer, and I've got another student that I've worked with from the beginning of this coursework all the way through the end, and just got her bachelor's degree last semester. And I have had to tell her, even after she transferred away from Northeast State and went to ETSU, she stayed in contact with me because I would give her a pep talk every time she thought she couldn't do it. So, you know, if you need somebody to be your cheerleader, I'll be your cheerleader. But I'm not gonna just say, hey, yay, you know, rah, rah, rah. I'm gonna say, no, now, look, what have you tried to do so far? Has that worked? Okay, if that hasn't worked, let's try this. The one that does the work does the learning. You have to be willing to work. The rest of this I'm going to let you read. I'm not going to bore you with the details. So, now we need to sign up for Remind. How many people have done this before? They know what Remind is and have used it. Okay, those of you that have used it, if you're sitting next to somebody that's kind of a little rusty with this, you know, help them out a little bit, please. And I may flip on the lights for this once you've got this written down. For this class, there's 2 ways you can use Remind. If you've got a smartphone, iPhone or Android, if you've got a smartphone, open your web browser and type in the URL rnd.at/HAA 6H4. And then you sign up. Please put your real name, the first and last name, and then you put in either an email address, which I don't recommend unless you check your email 75 times a day, or your phone number. If you put in your phone number, I'm not going to call you. That's not what this does. It sends you a text message. I am not going to bomb your phone with text messages. You'll probably get a dozen, maybe 15 messages from me all semester long. Usually what a text message in Remind does is it tells you, I'm going to be late to class about 15 minutes tonight because I had to run off campus. So work on your homework together until I get there. Or, bless you. Bless you.
Thank you.
Or it may, you know, I see everybody's having trouble with this problem. Go to Show Me. I posted a recording about it in the discussion board. Okay? Or a day or 2 before the test, I'll probably send out a reminder. Oh, by the way, everybody remember, you got a test on Monday night, but be sure to be there on time. Be sure to have all your homework done. Okay? So it'll be things like that. It's not going to be, just to chat about whatever. You can also talk to each other in Remind. It doesn't show me or anybody else your phone number. I only see your name. I don't see your phone number. All you're going to get is a text from me, and you won't see my phone number either. It's just a messaging system. Now, if you don't have a smartphone, you can do the same thing. All you have to do is text on any phone, text at HAA 6H4 to the number 81010. You just send a text to 81010, and the message is the @ HAA 6H4. Everybody should be signed in by the time you leave tonight or have signed up. Now I'm going to flip the lights on, make sure everybody can see their phone well enough to do this. Give you a few minutes to get that done. And then at the break, we're going to test that out because I'm going to go back to my office and I'm going to send you a text message. And you get a bonus point for sending me a reply that says, I got it. Okay?
Do you need to download the app?
You can download the app on a smartphone or an iPhone if you want to. You don't have to.
Okay, because my memory's used up.
That's why I don't tell people to download the app if they don't, because my phone stays jammed up with stuff anyway. I've got a granddaughter and everything coming and going. She's 6 and she loves to play video games and she eats up my data with YouTube videos. So it's HAA 6H4. Did everybody get signed in on the flash roll? Just one person. Put your knees across the bar. Because I knew you weren't going to be on it, I'd already printed it. So to sign up for My Math Lab, I'm going to turn the lights off again. Sign up for My Math Lab, you go to www.pearsonmylabandmastering.com. If you're lazy like me, there's a shortcut to this. They had an old website that was a lot easier to type and a lot easier to remember. It's Course Compass, all one word. COURSECOMPASS, much shorter. CourseCompass.com, taking the same place. When you get there, this is what you should see. If you already have an account, sign in. That's all you need to do. Sign in and sit still for a minute, or help somebody next to you because they've not done this before and they might need some help getting an account set up. Now, if you have never had a Pearson account before, if you do not have a My Math Lab account, you come over here to the button that says Student, and you click Student. I didn't put instructions to the people that already have accounts in here because they know how to do this. But you need to sign up and get access, so click Student. When you click Student, you'll go to this page that tells you that you need to have 3 things. You're going to sit there saying, well, I don't have all those things. I don't have a credit card or an access code. You don't need either one. I've got the access code. You click Register Now. When you click Register Now, it brings you here. And it says, enter your course ID. Your course ID for this class is my last name, Flint, 94474. If you're creating an account, this is going to come up. I'm going to enroll in it, just make a note of what that account, what that course ID is. Because you're just going to enroll in a new course, and there's your course ID for those of you that already have an account or signed in. Please be sure you use the Flint 94474. Because the other one's for my day class. The instructions are the same, but the other one's for my day class. And then you click Continue, which will be this button here. And when you click Continue, it brings up another screen, and you need to click Create if you're creating a new account. When you click Create, it brings you to this page. In this page, you want to enter the email address that you've used for all this other stuff. It can be your G-Test email, it can be whatever email you want, but please use the same one for everything. It's easier to keep track of things that way. Your username can be whatever you want it to be, but I prefer it if you do one of 2 things. Either use your D2L username, because I can find that on the system if you ever lose your username, or you can use your email as your username, or type in your first and last name, but you don't want to put any spaces. You want it to be all together. But You need a username. And then you need a password, and you'll have to enter it twice. And there are restrictions on the password. It has to have at least one number and at least one letter, and I think it has to be 8 characters long, and one of them has to be capitalized letters. So be sure that everything checks off before you retype that password. And then your real first name and your real last name, because that's what's going to show up in the grade book. And again, you're like, yours could be Missy. It doesn't have to be Melissa. And then choose a security question. They've got several to choose from, and then type in your answer. Now, the last thing is to check the I accept this box. You do not have to check the box below that. In fact, I recommend that you don't, because they'll pester you to death. So you only have to click the I accept box and then click the blue box at the bottom. And when you click the blue box at the bottom, it's going to ask for an access code. This is your access code for everybody in here. Now I'm going to walk around and make sure that everybody actually gets into Pearson. Now, I'm not going to go on with anything else until I can see everybody is actually in the course.
Access code one more time.
Sure.
Sorry.
I'll give it to her.
Okay. Yeah, you shouldn't need it but once. Before I do the walkthrough, though, I'm gonna stop and tell you something else. How many people are in here? This is like your second year at Northeast State. Second or third. It's not your first time here. Okay. Does everybody remember? Those of you that have your hands up, you remember last fall? Everybody has to have an iPad. Okay. We had the opt-in program. I opt in. Well, it was not I opt in. It was I had to opt out if I didn't want in. Okay. Well, a lot of things have changed since then. Number one, you don't have to have an iPad. You can have any kind of tablet you want. Of course, by now, if you've had it for a year, you don't want to try to get something else. I don't. I spend a lot of time learning that thing. But you don't have to have an iPad if you've got a smartphone. There is a list of things that you need to be able to do with some kind of technology. We don't care what you use as long as you do it. And that list is on the syllabus. You go to Northeast State's website. Where's my Northeast? Log in. I'm gonna log in, but I'm gonna try to go to the student page. So I'm going to stay here at the home page, which is where the student page brings you. And tell me if I'm making a mistake now. Come over here to student. Under banner self-service, go to student. Go to student records. Go to class schedule. And when you get to class schedule, it actually takes you, it says it's still in My Northeast, but it's lying. It really isn't. That's why this is going to work. You're actually on our banner system at this point. When you get here, choose your term, which is fall 2017, and then click Return to Menu and click Student again. And go here. And this is recorded, so if you can't do it right now, you can always bring this up later. So when you click here, iNortheast and I opt-in links, all you have to do is opt into eTextbooks. Now, I can't click that because then they're going to try to figure out why the teacher is trying to pay for student textbooks. But you just click the opt-in to eTextbooks, and you can opt in to the textbook separately. You can opt in for this class and not for another one. So those of you that actually need to pay for the course code, go ahead and do that. The only people that don't need to do that are the people that have actually had the course before, and they just need to enroll in a new course. They don't even need that big long code that I gave you. They just enroll in a new course on their current account. But then if you are among those that did not opt in and you just enrolled in a new course with your own account, you need to send me an email and let me know so that I can let Pearson know that they should not shut down your course access. Okay?
But I still have to go reimburse.
Yes, you will. So I tell you, this is probably a good time to take a break. Okay, for those of you that wondered, why was there the one for $252 and the one that you got, which was the digital access, this is what you're paying for. This is your book. You have a table of contents like you do for any book. It takes a little while to load because it's loading that whole 50-pound book.
So if you gave us access code, what would we be paying for then? Because you gave us access.
I gave you the access code, but that access code only lets you access this for 14 days. And then at the end of 14 days, if you haven't paid, because Pearson works with the bookstore, then they yank your access. But this is really Pearson's method for doing this is the easiest one. All the others have different websites and things you have to go through, but Pearson just sends us a code and says, okay, tell them all to enroll with this code that need to, and if they don't need to, then send us their name because they've already got access, and then we'll work the rest out with the bookstore for you. So this is the table of contents. I'm actually going to look at R4, the review section 4 tonight about equations. And because it wasn't included in the review section, I'm actually going to do some plotting points with you as a review tonight. Because if you've been out of math for a while, you may have forgotten some of this, and this is stuff that you need to know to do chapter 1. So I'm not going to start in lecturing on chapter 1. I'm going to post the lecture on section 1.1, and I'm going to expect you to watch that lecture and do your class notes on 1.1 and show me by the next class period. The reason I'm doing that is because we don't meet next Monday. Next Monday is Labor Day. So I won't see you for 2 weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and put video lessons up for section 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. And I want you to go ahead and do those before I see you in 2 weeks. And make sure as you go through taking your notes for those that you write down anything that's not clear to you. You put, use a highlighter or whatever you want to do, but make sure if you've got questions, you list those questions. If you want to wait until class to ask them, you can. But what I would suggest that you do is that you go ahead, if you've got questions about it, and ask me right there in Show Me. Would you please look at XYZ? I'm confused. I don't think I understand it. Can you help me understand it better? And I'll either post another video, or if I have to, we'll get on FaceTime and I'll point mine at while I'm working out the problem for you. But the video lecture usually works better. And then what I'll do the next time we meet is I'll have an activity that we'll all do in preparation for reviewing for the test, which is going to be September the 18th. Okay? So if you've already done the notes and the homework, and you've got your stuff to do on here in the e-text that I'm going to show you, then you're going to be able to just, all of you group up and do a review the next class period that we have. We'll have, we'll go over your questions on the 3 sections, and then I'll have a review for y'all to do in class together. So this is your textbook, and just so that you understand why this is actually better than a pencil and paper textbook, I'm going to go to chapter 1, and I'm going to go to the second one. These are some things that are already in the book for you. If you don't understand my video lecture, you can also click that little camera button there. And get another explanation for it. And you may understand that one better. So this is the lecture they put up there for all of section 1.2.
Let's look at an example that contains two linear functions, one for supply and one for demand.
And this is problems out of the book.
Find the equilibrium of
Okay.
quantity and price.
Now, some other things that are in here that may be helpful to you. When it comes down to the examples, he's going to have gone over something like one of these examples. You're going to have had it in my lecture. If you click that button, after you've done an example, this will take you into the same kind of situation that you would be doing for homework or a quiz and let you try one out without dinging your homework grade. So you can actually try one out right here. Let f of x equal 7 minus 2x. What's f of 5? Well, what that means is that's 7 minus 2 times 5, which is 7 minus 10, and that will be negative 3. So if you see if you've understood it, you do a problem and it'll tell you if you didn't understand it. The other thing that I want you to be aware of that this is here is the your turn exercises. The your turn exercises are actually your show me homework. There is a show me homework that has the your turn exercises, not all of them, because I don't necessarily do every single example. Then I don't want you to do a your turn for one that I didn't show you how to do. So these your turn exercises are your show me homework, and after you do this example, it wants you to try that one. Now I don't give you, in the video that I do, I don't work those for you. What I will do is I'm going to tell you right now where the answers are. If you go to the end of the section, right before the section review exercises, it's supposed to be right there. Okay, there.
17.
There they are. So there's the answer to all of your turn exercises. Now that's all it is answers. But that's the right answer. So once you've done the your turn, go look and see if you got it right. If you didn't, try to figure out why you didn't. If you're totally stuck and you have to ask a question, while you're right there in that same folder doing your show me homework, in the comment box, say, I'm really stuck on number 4. Can you help me? And I'll do something to help you. Okay?
On this, Pearson's on the My Math Lab,
Mm-hmm.
I know in some other math classes we had, it'll put you an example.
Mhm.
It'll show me. Does this have that, or is everything?
It has
ask
it.
your instructor?
It has
Because
it.
some of them just say, ask your instructor, they don't actually give you.
The reason, well, some of the ones on this that I may eliminate, ask my instructor, everything but ask my instructor, and I'll do that a lot in calculus. The reason I'll do that, and I'm assuming that if you're in here, you're going to go to calculus. I do it a lot in calculus because their example in calculus is this long, when in fact all I wanted you to do was the first 2 steps. and the rest of it is algebraic simplification, and I don't care if you do that or not. I need to know that you could do the calculus part of it. And I do that with some of these because when I do on every one of these, I do the homework assignments, and I'll look at the view an example or help me solve this. And if I don't understand what they're saying, then I know you're not going to understand what they're saying. And that means that I'm going to uncheck it for that exercise so that you're not going to see it, because I try for you not to be confused. So that's why if you only see Ask My Instructor, I thought they would confuse you, and I'd rather you ask me. And then you click that button, it's going to send me an email, and I will answer you. So your turn answers are right here. Now, if I'm giving you the answers, what do you think's going to happen if you go in Shobi and do your homework, and all you do is write the answers on there? You're going to get a big old fat zero. Because what do I want to see? I want to see what went between, here's the problem, here's the answer. I want to see the work that supports that answer. Because I can't assess whether you understand if I don't see that. So you're going to have to show me that. And if you only put down the answers and think, well, you know, I've got this slicked, I'm going to get perfect scores. Well, yeah, you got all the answers right, but you know, if that's all you put on there was the right answers, what's going to happen come test time?
So, do we ever turn anything into my math lab, or do we just like look at our book on there?
You look at your book, there's also homework and quizzes on there, and I'll show you where those are, okay? But Shobi is a separate set of homework, and I just wanted to make sure that you while you're in my math lab, that they're linked in this way. Your Shobi homework I take straight out of your book, but you got the answers to it straight out of your book. And sometimes I will give you quizzes from problems in the book. I'll just say, go to page so-and-so and work this problem. Go to page so-and-so, work this problem.
So
And I'll do
use
that in
one
Shobi.
another. Like, we'll use the math lab for the Shobi.
You'll use them both combined. Now, the other thing, and this is, like I said, this is just the book. We're going to go back to the main menu. And now we'll go and look at assignments so that you'll see what those are like. Now, this is something that, and I haven't set your due dates yet, so you can't get into any of these. I've got to go in and set them up tonight. When you get into Chapter 1, before you can actually do Chapter 1's homework, see, and I don't have a live link there because it's past due. Let me see if I can't fix that. I'm going to open them all up for right now. Now, I didn't put in a due date yet, so there will be one, but there's not one right now. Wait, no, I don't want to leave that. I need to make sure I saved that. Yeah, I'm going to have to put in a due date, or it'll tell you it's already past due. Okay, this is actually prerequisites. So when you go to this Chapter 1 skills chest, it tells you that you have to submit this assignment before you can do the review homework. You don't have to do the Chapter 1 review homework. You do not. The skills review homework. Here's the deal. And I'm glad I'm recording this because you're going to want to go back and listen to this again to make sure you understood. You do the skills check quiz. You have to make 85% on it before you can do anything else. Except, if you don't make 85% on it, you can do the skills review homework. Now, if you go through and you do the skills check quiz and you get 60 on it, you probably want to go do the skills check homework instead. If you will do all the skills check homework and then email me and tell me I got 85% on the homework, I will give you that grade for the skills check quiz so you can go on. If you only need to go do a little bit of the homework in order to be able to bring your grade up because you need a little brush up on 2 problems, then you go and you do those 2 problems in the homework, and then you go back to the skills check quiz and you take it again so that you can get those 2 problems. So my advice to you is you make less than 50 on it, just go do the homework. You probably need the review. But if you make 70, 75, 80 on it, because you're only missing 1 or 2 problems, go into the homework problems and do just the ones you need to do because you'll be able to tell what they are. And then go back and retake the quiz again because you'll get that 85% on the second chance. The reason that I do that is because if you sit there and work and get frustrated trying to do the homework because you forgot how to do something that you needed to know how to do that's not being taught in that lesson, then it just takes you longer. It's better to go ahead and try the skills check and see where you need a brush up. And most everybody needs a little brush up on almost all of these. These quizzes are not long. Some of them are only like 3 problems long. And you can't move through the homework until you make 85% on the previous assignment. So here's the skills check quiz. Let me go in here and actually, this one has 15 questions. And I'll just give you an idea of what it is. And after tonight, you probably will do fine on it because I'm going to do some of this tonight. Use a calculator to evaluate the cube root of 6. Okay? You got a calculator, type in 6 root and, or type in 3 and then the root sign and then 6 and it'll tell you what it is. You type that answer in there. Okay? You get a calculator, we'll go ahead and do it. Try that again. Somebody has messed up my calculator. All righty then. There. Okay, on the TI calculator, the way that you get this, the cube root of 6, there's 2 ways. You hit the math button, go down to number 4, and that's cube root. Put in a 6 and close the parentheses. Says the cube root of 6 is 1.817120593. It tells you to round to the nearest thousandth. That means 3 decimal places. So this would be 1.817. If it were not the cube root of 3, because sometimes it won't be a cube root, it'll be a 4th root or a 5th root. Like for example, if I wanted the 4th root, you will use that key, but I type in the root that I want first, then math, and then I go to number 5. And it works the same way after that. So the 4th root of it would be 1.565. Okay?
All of mine on the grade group score and hers also says pass.
That's okay.
Okay.
It'll be fixed.
Okay.
It probably would actually be fixed right now if you were to log out and log back in, but that's gonna be way too much trouble. It's because I changed the due dates after you logged in,
Okay.
okay? But you'll be fine. So I'm gonna type this one in for the people that are unfamiliar with My Math Lab. See, it was 1.817. And you're going to, now you don't get the check answer button on this one. This is a quiz, okay? So you actually have to just go on. So you go to the next problem. Subtract and simplify. I left these in here not because I want to make you miserable and make you learn how to do fractions all over again. If you haven't learned them by now, well, it's time to go to the calculator. So what you do is you type in parentheses, a fraction is always parentheses, numerator divided by denominator, and close the parentheses. Always put parentheses around your fractions, because if you don't, order of operations will come back to get you. But if you put them in parentheses, you're good. And I'm going to subtract parenthesis 1 divided by 4. Close parenthesis, and if I just hit enter, it's going to give me a decimal. This isn't going to take a decimal. It wants a whole number or a fraction. So you hit the math key, and the very first thing on the math key is frac. The answer is 7/12. Here's your fraction maker, 7/12. And go on, okay? Now, I'm not going to go all the way through and do all of these problems for you. I'm going to actually skip through these a little bit. Multiply. Now, try to do these without using your calculator first, please, because that skill does need to be brushed up. You need to remember some of those. And it fusses at you if you submit the quiz too early, and I don't want to submit it yet, so no. So I'm going to move on. This is just so that and you can do the same thing. Parentheses 15 divided by 24, close parentheses, math, frac, and it'll put that in lowest terms for you. Is this an expression or is it an equation? How do you know? How do you tell if it's an expression or an equation? What does an equation have that an expression doesn't? There's supposed to be an equal sign. Did you see an equal sign? Nope. So it's an expression. Find the value. There again, try to do it without the calculator, but if you need to, you can always check with the calculator. I don't care if you check. Find the numerical value if x is 5 and y is 8. All you're doing is substituting, and then you do it on your calculator. A multiplication problem you do on your calculator. What is the numerical coefficient and the degree of the term? What's the degree of this term? 5. What's the coefficient? It's 1. It's understood to be 1. Is this an expression or an equation? It's an equation. There's an equal sign there. Find the square root. That means you got to do the arithmetic and do it in the right order. Find the square root. Again, don't forget to put parentheses around your fraction. Okay? And then change that to decimal notation. Which means, since it's a percent, you're going back to decimal. That means you move the decimal to the left, and it'll be decimal 428. And at this point, I can submit the quiz, even though I didn't do them all, and it's going to fuss and say, you didn't do them all. Yeah, go ahead and submit it. And it'll show you which ones you got right and which ones you missed.
Is there a time limit on them, or are they just
No.
unlimited?
No. And, I mean, you saw this. You saw how long that little free quiz takes. It doesn't take long. But just make sure you remember how to do things that you need to know how to do lesson 1. And if I try to go do lesson 1 now, it says you didn't make 85% on your skills check quiz. You need to go back and do that quiz again. And yours won't say continue, it'll say close. Mine says continue because I'm the teacher. Now, if you didn't do the skills check quiz and make 85% because you couldn't get it all done, do whatever you need to of these. Okay? These are just more of what was in the quiz. Only this time, you can actually get help with them. Now, help me solve this. They're going to take you through all the arithmetic. Hopefully you realize by me showing you going through it, I don't really want you to do all of that. What I want you to do is I want you to use your calculator. Okay? So don't automatically go to the homework and, do help me solve this. Now, some of them help me solve this will be good. Yeah, because this one, it'll actually walk you through it. It explains to you how to do it. And you have to actually put an answer in to make sure that you did it right. So you substitute for x. Well, x is 4. And check that answer. It says, okay, that was right. This is now you need to plug in for y. Well, y was 2. Check your answer for that. And it says now simplify to get the final answer. Do the arithmetic. That's 5.
On the My Math Labs, do we need to write down all of our work for each problem and turn it in?
No.
Okay, because
No.
otherwise
Write it down as much as you need to for your own benefit, but you won't have to turn it in to me. Some people can do stuff in their head. Some people need to write it down. Some people are neat and organized when they write it for themselves. But some people write all the way around the page, and that's okay because it's not for me; it's for you.
Do we have access to that calculator?
You won't have access to it in here on a test night. You have access to it as long as you've got the computer on. But what I will tell you, there is a really good graphing calculator that is available that you can download to your computer. The only thing is you really need your handheld calculator because you can't have computer access or iPad or phone access during the test. So you really need a calculator. And if you're in here, you'll need the calculator for this class and business calculus, and if you've not already taken it, problem stats and math 2080. You've got 4 math classes if you're a business major or an accounting major here. And you'll need that calculator for all 4 of them, so you may as well go ahead and buy one. The best price I've seen on them lately, Office Depot had them for like $99.
And let me know if you buy it off the Depot because I can give you my number because that's what I work for.
Okay, pay attention to this lady.
You can get a discount.
Okay, so, go to Office Depot. Okay, do not go to the bookstore, they charge full price, which is like $130. Go to Office Depot. Okay, so there's your assignments. There's also a regular quiz, Chapter 2 review quiz. And it's just like the other quiz, except it's over what we're going to do in Chapter 2. Okay, there's no help me's for that. You have to submit the quiz. And if that looks Greek to you, don't panic because we're not there yet. We're going to use the calculator in here a lot. That's why I'd encourage you to be sure and get your own calculator. Okay, you don't ever go to study plan. I'm probably going to hide it because people go in there and try to do that work, and then it's like way more than what I would assign. I cut my assignments way down. If you go to Gradebook, you cannot trust that number because that's only based on what you did in My Math Lab. Anytime you want to know where you stand in class right now today, send me a message and remind, and I'll print you out a grade report from my grade book that has everything in it. Okay? And then after every test, I give you a grade report that tells you exactly where you're standing at that point in this class. So when you finish test 1 on September the 18th, by September the 20th, you'll have a grade report in Shobi. It'll show up, it'll say exam 1 grade report. And you can go in there and open your folder and you'll be able to see what your average is on everything and all the assignments you've completed. And if you miss one, it'll show you that you missed one. And if that's just because you overlooked one, a lot of times I'll let you go back and do that when you get full credit for it.
Do you offer extra credit?
I do until the 1st of November. If you wait until Thanksgiving and ask for extra credit because you're worried about passing, it's like, you should have been doing all the stuff we had up to now. Because I do give extra credit. Sometimes, one of the things I do is if you're in class and you catch me in a mistake, and you will catch me in a mistake because I make them just like everybody else does. If you catch me in a mistake, encourage you to speak up, call me on the mistake, and if I did make the mistake, I will give you a bonus point. I'll have my class roll up here and I'll +1 by your name. And I've got a column in my grade book that says bonus points. And I just add a point to it every time you do that. Sometimes I'll give you bonus assignments that will give you some more to add to those bonus points. Okay? Your bonus points for catching me in a mistake is limited to 10. Okay? Because, you know, after a while I'm going to start feeling really bad. Especially if it's 10, if I give everybody in here a chance for 10, I mean, you know, that means I would get to make lots of mistakes. So I hope I don't make that many. The only other thing that I'm going to point out to you that you may find very useful is Tools for Success. Click down on Tools for Success. There is a finite math study card there. And there's an applied calculus study card. Those are very useful to help you focus your efforts. The finite study card is basically all the different formulas in a kind of like a cheat sheet. So it kind of helps you review for test. I will not give you this on a test, but I will on a test. I'll either give you a formula sheet or I will tell you that you can use and it'll vary depending on which test it is. I will tell you that you can use a 3x5 card, handwritten, with notes on both sides. And it can be anything you want. Okay? I recommend that you don't do that if I give you the option of a formula sheet, because my formula sheet will have exactly the formulas you need on it. But if you want, I'll probably do 3x5 cards on most of it. The other thing that's here that I want to be sure you know about, for those of you that are not real familiar with the calculator, there's a graphing calculator tutorial. It's right here. And this is a really good tutorial, especially if you have a TI-84. Like, for example, the first thing we're going to do is maybe some graphing. And you want to know how to set the graphing window. It tells you exactly how to do it. You press that button. And then if you're wanting to enter an equation, it says press 2. And then the X key. And then the subtract key, and then the 3 and the 6, and it says then you press zoom and 6, zoom 6, and that automatically sets your window to go from -10 to 10. So it looks like that. And when you go down and look at all these different things that it does. We're going to change this to 20. For whatever reason. And we're going to change that to -40. And the reason we're going to do that is because that viewing window we saw first, you can't see everything. So we're going to go down to 40. And now we're going to hit graph again, and now you can see the line. There are tutorials on this calculator for all kinds of things. When we get to chapter 2, the tutorials on matrices are very, very useful. And as you see, it steps you through what you're going to do, example problems. So remember where that is, Tools for Success, Graphing Calculator tutorial. Now beyond that, we are just about done, and it's about 10 minutes to 8, so we're going to be getting out early tonight. Before I close this out, does anybody have any questions that you want to ask about anything we've talked about so far?
So what all do we need to have turned in by Friday, the information sheet, and just,
student information sheet, and there will be, let's go back and look in Shelby, because everything's due by Fridays in Shelby. I don't want to miss something. We're gonna start this tonight, and I'm gonna post a quiz, and the quiz that goes with this is gonna be due by Friday. And it's gonna be problems out of the book, and it's gonna look just like what I'm fixing to do right now, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to actually take you through a review that looks like this. If you want a paper copy of this, you need to go ahead and download it now and print it. You can download it and print it from Shelby right now. If you want to do it on your iPad, just open it up on your iPad. And if you need a stylus, I've got a couple up here that you're welcome to try out if you want to. I usually have a couple anyway. Looks like I've only got, no, I've got two. Now, I've already got a copy of it, so at this point, I'm going to minimize this. And hopefully, I'm not going to need a calculator too much for this, but I'm going to leave it sitting up here. Y'all go ahead and print what you need to.
Okay, if I grab this real fast.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure, that's fine. If y'all want to go ahead and print this off, go ahead and print it off. I'll wait for you. It's about, I think, three or four sheets. And this review is not going to take us long. Yeah, I keep telling them that room is freezing, and she says, but they're controlled by the computer. I said, then throw another one on the fire. It's cold in here.
Normally, I would not bother me because, I pay for a hot flash or something.
Four pages. 10 problems total, I think is what it
Okay,
is.
so this is probably one you.
10 or 12.
Maybe it's just somebody. The other one's on the other printer, sorry.
Sure, you can take notes and do it, that's fine. Because you don't have to actually turn this in. What you have to turn in is gonna be the quiz.
How do you get it to print off of your iPad?
From your iPad, you probably can't. I've never been able to get the air printer to work in here. Not even with my iPad. Do you want a paper copy of it?
Well, I don't know how to print it off of here.
Okay, you don't have to. Hang on just a second. I'll print one off for you. I'm trying to remember how I can do it.
At the bottom,
Yeah,
no arrow.
yeah, there we go. Hello. Let's try that again. left the door open. I swear it's, you can hang me. We had class in the hall. See if we can let some heat in from the hall. Okay. First thing we're going to review is solving equations and plotting some points. Solving equations. Now, I printed these out this way because this is a good way to take notes. Here's your first problem. 5x plus 2 is equal to 8 minus 3x. I can slide this back and forth, but this way you'll be able to see it better. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do is I want to get all of the x terms on one side and all the constant terms on the other side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move that 3x to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. And that's going to remove it from that side. Add, yes, thank you. See, okay, there would have been a whole bunch of points. Add 3x to both sides, since I need to be grammatically correct. Okay? Now, I'm not going to continue doing this on this side, but that's, as you're taking your notes, it'll help you to understand what you're doing if you write down why you do what you do over here. So 5x plus 3x is 8x. Bring down the plus 2 is equal to 8. Now I need to subtract 2 from both sides. So I'm going to do minus 2, minus 2. That gets rid of the 2 on the left side and puts it on the right side. So I have 8x is equal to 8 minus 2 is 6. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 8. So x is equal to 6 over 8. Now here's where the calculator comes in. Since my math lab is persnickety, and ordinarily I'd tell you that answer's fine, turn it into a decimal. But since my math lab is persnickety, grab your calculator, turn it on, enter, and since there's only one fraction, we don't have to worry about it not doing order of operations right. So I'm going to say 6 divided by 8, math, frac. So the answer is actually 3/4. Okay? Be sure and show me all the steps. I may very well have told you up here at the top of the page that the answer is x equals 3/4. I'll give you the answers. I want to know how you got them. Next example, and I put this one in there deliberately because I know when you see fractions, your brain goes, ah! Okay, here's what you do if you see fractions. You list out the denominators of all the fractions. Okay? There's actually an application on your calculator, if I can remember where it is. It's called the LCM, least common multiple. Oh, it's mad because I put the 2 in there, because 8 can be divided by 2, I think. Now, if it hadn't been the case that the 2 and the 8 are both even numbers, then what you'll have to do if you've got 3 denominators is you'll have to pair them up. And then pick the lowest of the number that'll go in all 3 of them. So for example, if I didn't realize that 8 was even just like 2 was, and so I didn't really need to put the 2, then I would do the least common multiple of 3 and 8, then the least common multiple of 3 and 2, and then the least common multiple of 8 and 2. And then you pick the largest one. So the largest one is 24. Okay, so the least common multiple of all these together is 24. And you're sitting there saying, well, in the evening. Okay, if I multiply everything in the problem, not by the 8, 3 goes to 24 8 times. So multiply the first one by 8. Multiply the second one, since 1 goes to 24 times, multiply the second one by 24. Okay. Plus 8 goes into 24 3 times.
So then you just change all the
Yes.
numerators and make all the denominators.
Right, and 2 goes into 24 12 times. So then what I've got here is 8 times 2 is 16 over, and it's actually going to be 24. Okay. Minus 24k over 24 plus 9 over 24 equals 12 over 24. Now this is all equivalent fractions at this point, but all the denominators are the same.
So you just skipped a step originally.
I originally skipped a step, okay? So now at this point, 16k minus 24k is 16 minus 24 over 24 times k, plus 9 over 24 equals 12 over 24. We're just going to leave the fractions for the time being. Now, 16 minus 24 is what? Negative 8. So it's negative 8 over 24 k plus 9 over 24 equals 12 over 24. And then at the next stage, what I need to do is I need to get, since I've combined my k's, I need this over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 9 over 24 from both sides, which will take it away there. Negative 8 over 24k equals 12 minus 9 is 3 over 24. Now there's a rule, which you're all aware of, that says you can multiply both sides of the equation by anything you want to. What would happen if I multiply this by 24? 24 cancels out 24, right? 24 cancels out 24. What do I have left? Negative 8k equals 3.
So then you just divide both sides.
And then divide both sides by negative 8, exactly. So k is equal to negative 3/8. So the key is getting the least common multiple and then taking all your denominators, and the way you get your multiplier is you divide your denominator into that least common multiple so that you know what to multiply by to give everybody the same denominator. Okay?
Can't you also just
we multiply the entire equation by 24 and get rid of your denominators altogether?
You can. There's more than one way to do a lot of things. So we can do it that way. If you take 2/3 times k minus 20, oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. Try again. If you take your original equation, 2/3 k minus k plus 3/8 equals 1/2, and you multiply everything in the equation by 24, because your LCM was 24. Then you multiply 24 times 2/3 k, and 24 times k, and 24 times 3/8, and 24 times 1/2. 3 goes into 24 8 times. 8 times 2 is 16. Or you say 24 times 2/3, frac, and the calculator will do it for you. So this is 16k minus 24 times k is 24k plus 3 times, or 24 times 3/8, which if you cancel the 8 into the 24 is going to give you the 3, and that's going to be 9, equals 2 goes into 24 12 times. 12 times 1 is 12. That takes you straight to a step that was way further down if you do it this way. And then 16 minus 24 is -8 plus 9 equals 12. Minus 9 minus 9, -8k equals 3. Divide both sides by -8. And k is equal to -3/8. So there's two ways to do it. Choose the one that works best for you. Okay? I think this is the easiest one, but it's kind of counterintuitive why it works. But this one really is the easiest one, especially since you can take your calculator when you're trying to do this and just enter in 24 times parentheses 2 divided by 3 and then fraction. And it'll come right back and tell you, just in case you did mess up, it'll come back and give you the whole number. Okay?
You don't care which method you use as long as you direct it.
As long as the method you use will always give you the right answer. If I see you using a method that works sometimes but not every time, then I'll say something to you in your folder like, you know, I know it worked here, but if the problem had been this, it wouldn't have worked. Because there's a few little shortcuts that work only in certain cases. Okay, this one you're having to remove your parentheses. So your first step is going to be to remove the parentheses by using what's called a distributive property. 5 times a is 5a, and then 5 times the 3, don't forget to multiply both of them, is 15, plus 4a minus 5 equals, now over here I've got negative in front of the parentheses. That just simply means change the signs of everything inside the parentheses. So what was positive becomes negative, what was negative becomes positive. Then I want to get my a's all together. 5a and 4a is 9a. I want to get my 15 and my 5 together, so that's minus 5 from 15 is, that makes plus 10, equals -2a plus 4. Then I want this a over here, so that's going to be plus 2a. And that makes that 11a plus 10 equals 4. And then I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides. And I have 11a equals 4 minus 10 is negative 6. So then a is going to be equal to negative 6 over 11. Now, one thing I want you to notice is that except for the fact that I combine both of these and both of these in that same step, I only do one thing in each step. If you find that you make little mistakes, what people call silly mistakes, and wind up getting the wrong answer, separate it out and always do only one step on each line. And do work downwards, don't work across the page, because then it just kind of all gets strung together in your brain. But work down the page and only do one single thing in each step. That way, if you do make a mistake, you can backtrack and find that mistake much more easily. Now, I didn't do very many equation solving examples because I know most of y'all have had that much more recently, but I did do one more. And this is what's called nested parentheses. So it's a little review of order of operations. Your order of operations says that you do parentheses first, then you do exponents, and then you multiply and divide straight across from left to right. And then you add and subtract straight across from left to right. But the only hitch is you got two sets of parentheses. So you work inside out. You start with the innermost set of parentheses and try to deal with that first. Now, since this isn't numbers that I can go ahead and subtract, I know that I'm subtracting both of those numbers from everything else that's in there. So that means that this is minus 3 plus p. And then what's in front of that is 2p. And what's after that is plus 5. And on this side, I still have negative 7p minus 2. But this whole thing actually is going to have to be multiplied by 4 before I can do anything else. So before I multiply it by 4, I could multiply it by 4 and then collect like terms, but these numbers are smaller if I wait till the end to multiply by that 4. So 2p plus p is 3p, and minus 3 plus 5 is plus 2. And I've still got that 4 out there. And that's equal to negative 7p minus 2. So at this point, I multiply 3p times 4, which is 12p, and 2 times 4, which is 8, and it's positive, equals negative 7p minus 2. Then I want 7p on the other side, so I add it since it's subtracted. And then I subtract 8 from both sides. So what I have at this point, and this time I am going to break my rule before I go down here in my graph grid, is 19p is equal to negative 10, and then p is equal to negative 10 over 19. Anybody have any questions on solving equations so far? And remember, if you lose track on your notes, this is being recorded, and I'm going to post it in Shobi. All you have to do is hit a link, and it'll take you straight to the recording that we're making right now. Okay. Plot the point 0, 9. I want you to remember that when you have a point, it's always the X direction first and the Y direction second. And I want you to remember that the X direction goes back and forth. The Y direction goes up and down. It goes up if it's positive and down if it's negative. The X goes to the right if it's positive, to the left if it's negative. And you always, 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 always start at the origin. That's the origin right there, 0, 0. You start where they're at, the two of them cross, and they're both 0. So you start there, and this tells me that once I start at 0, 0, I'm going to go, because X is 0, I'm not going to go at all. I'm going to stay right there. I'm not going to move at all, back and forth. But from there, then I'm going to go, because the Y is 9, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9 would be right there. I didn't make my grid big enough. So that's the point 0, 9. And that's assuming that each one of these is 1. And the way I would want you to show me that if you're graphing by hand, you don't have to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put the 5 there. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and put the 5 there. And that way I'll know how you're counting. And that means that somebody could have plotted that same point by going up 2, 4, 6, 8. And it would have actually fallen on that grid. So for our next one, and I did not make any of my grids big enough, I'm just now realizing that. For my next one, I'm going to start out again at the origin. And because my X number is positive 10, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is going to take me right here. And then I'm going to go up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's the point. 10, 5. Says to plot the point 7, 2. So again, I'm going to start at the origin. And I'm going to go from the origin right 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then from that point on the axis, I'm going to go up 2. 1, 2. If that had been negative 7, 2, the only difference is that I would have gone left instead of right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then up 2. Now, if I switch them around, I'm still going to start at the origin, but it says the first coordinate is negative 2, so that means I'm going to go left 1, 2. And then the second coordinate is 7, so it means I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then if it had been positive 2, 7, again, the only thing you do is you start at the origin and go 1, 2, and then you go up 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you're one of the people that has trouble remembering, what you want to do is you want to say, start at 0, 0. You want to write this down until it kind of wears a path in your brain. Knowing that 0, 0 is where the axes cross. And then you go right 2, then up 7. Because I know a lot of people will get them confused. They get them crossed up. And 2, 7 looks an awful lot like 7, 2, except when you put it on the grid, it doesn't. The point 4, 4 just says that I start in the middle. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I have the point -8, -8, that simply means I start in the middle and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm down here. So remember, this is positive, this is negative, this is the y-axis, this is negative, this is positive, but this is your x-axis. Now I'll give you a few more examples to do in Shobi on your own, just to make sure you know how to do them. And on Friday, I'm going to post the key to the ones that I give you. Once I post the key, you don't get credit for it, so you need to be sure you get them done before then. This is going to be the one time I'm not going to give you the answers. I want you to actually work toward it without having the answer. I may give you the answer to the equations so that you can make sure you're getting the right answer to the equations. But if I give you the answer to the plot the point, well, you know, that was your answer. So it doesn't show me how you got it. Okay?